Michael, welcome to Tech at Work. Now, there's been a major shift in the way we look for goods and services. Gone are the good old days where you pull the yellow pages close or the newspaper, everything's online. And when you want something, it's simply opening your browser and in most cases, Googling something. Now, as a business in the online landscape and in South Africa, how do you make sure that you end up on top of the Google pile?
Okay, great question, Natasha. Thank you. One of the easiest ways of doing that is to obviously, via the Google's AdWords system, which is basically a pay-per-click model. In other words, you only pay when somebody clicks on your adverts. At the same time, ultimately your business, you need to decide on what kind of terms you wish to turn up on the top of the search results page. And then once you determine those kind of key phrases that you wish to trigger your adverts to, you then bid on those keywords. And your ads should appear at the top, depending on how many competitors there are within the auction market, because AdWords as itself is an online auction game. So you're competing depending on the number of competitors within that space. You have to obviously adjust your bids accordingly. So it all depends on your basic value that you place upon that keyword that you wish to drive visitors to your website or your online presence with.
Now, Michael, that sounds simple enough, but about 2 weeks ago, Google announced that it would overhaul the AdWords platform. It said that it would move from its legacy pay-per-click system to a new enhanced one. Now, what does this mean, and what does this mean for business?
Okay. Well, that's a bit of a misconception because it is still based a pay-per-click model. What they have done is they've enabled clients to really leverage, depending on the user's signals that they're generating, and the signals being where they are located, or the time of day, or what device they're actually querying Google on. So what that enables clients to do and advertisers to do is to really leverage those signals depending on whether those signals are applicable for their business needs, and allows them to really kind of get down and actually get the cost per click to a low level that's more sustainable for their business needs. So it's still based on a CPC model. Really, ultimately, you can then use those bidding levers, as they call them, to really adjust and fine-tune that amount that you're going to be paying for that click.
Now, this sounds like it's going to take some work, and success or value with any online campaign needs to be monitored. But we're sitting in a South African context where the majority of businesses are small to medium or SMEs, sometimes a mom-and-pop shop or a one-man band. If you don't have the staff complement or a proper marketing department who's responsible for monitoring your AdWords campaign, how much time should you be spending on AdWords, and how do you make sure that you deem the value or the benefits of it to the full?
Okay, great question. One of obviously the top ways is to ensure that you are tracking on your website that incoming traffic source that you're basically paying for, your business is paying for to obtain. So, of course, keeping a very close eye on your web analytics metrics to ensure that you are driving the correct visitors from the paid search side, and they are converting and doing the desired actions that you wish them to perform on the website, or making an inquiry on, for your services or products, is one of the key fundamental areas. Also, just ensuring that you are taking notice of where those users are coming from, what devices they're coming off, and all the kind of metrics involved within the AdWords system, and ensuring that you're not paying too much. At the same time, you are gaining the kind of correct traffic that you wish to gain is probably one of the kind of key important areas. From a time perspective, is all very dependent on how much you're willing to spend. So for a small medium enterprise, I would say approximately, depending on what their spend per month is or what their budget is, allocation is, I would say, you'd need to spend at least, I would say at the very minimum, an hour a day potentially. And if not, if you cannot afford that, then potentially I'd say at least you need to be spending an hour a week just analyzing what you have paid for, analyzing that you are getting the desired return on investment really at the end of the day.
Now, Michael, what is the top pitfall of AdWords? Is it a misunderstanding about how the platform works? What would be the not to do if you decide to utilize this platform for your business?
Well, that's one of the great reasons why small companies can utilize this. At the same time, it comes with its pros and cons. And I think one of the biggest cons is not paying careful attention onto what your settings are. For instance, some of the campaign settings, when I've had a look at some small enterprises, accounts, setups, is the sheer fact that they have missed some of the sort of the key fundamental areas, and that is to ensure that you're targeting the correct users in the correct locations. In other words, certain companies have targeted the entire world, and that's really a waste of money if their products and services are only locally available. So those are the kind of sort of top areas that I would definitely pay careful attention to, is knowing the basic fundamentals of it. The fundamentals haven't changed at all, really, ultimately, and that's really where you have to focus, ensuring that you're targeting the right user and on the right platform, because AdWords and its simplicity has allowed, sometimes people skip over some of certain configuration settings that really you need to take key notice of and understand what those fundamental sort of settings are and what they're going to be able to deliver for your business.